Um, MF drops a giant question. Larry, will Farhan acquire Luis Robert for Carson Wisenhunt? I hope so. Though I do love Carson Wisenhunt. I don't want to see him
take
traded.
a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I would do it though.
I don't think the Giants have the prospects.
Well, I mean, I would offer Marco Luciano and Rainer Arias and just some of their younger guys. Maybe Reggie Crawford, who's throwing 100 from the left side, might be up this year. And I'd try to get Andrew Vaughn and Luis Robert. If the Giants got Luis Robert and Andrew Vaughn, I think they could probably get that third playoff spot. If they get the third playoff spot, even though I think it's, you might get it without even being 500 right now. Right now, I believe the third playoff team in the National League sub 500.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of mediocrity and crappiness. At some point, someone will make a run, and you'll have to be a couple of games over. But where would Andrew Vaughn even play? Because Lamont Wade's coming back. They still feel Wilmer Flores has a role on this team. That's the platoon at first. I mean, where would you even stick Vaughn? He can't play anywhere but first. He's not even good at first.
Yeah, I would play him at first against lefties, and I would DH Lamont Wade and play him more in the outfield corners.
Okay.
I mean, look at it this way. You lost Jung-Hoo Lee. Solaire's been really ice cold.
It's been bad.
I don't like Yaz. I don't like Slater. Ramos is a rookie.
You mean Austin Slater, who is in fuego right now, Larry?
Yeah, can't stand him.
Can't stand
him. Can't stand everything about him, really. I mean, I hate the mustache. I hate everything about the kid.
Yeah, I love those 3 for 5 games, though.
Yeah, with a bunt single.
Hey, got on base.
But
doesn't
Slater
ask how. He only asks if.
If you could get Luis Robert and Vaughn, and you had Vaughn at first base against lefties, Lamont at first base against righties, maybe play Lamont in the corners a little bit more, so you have a little bit more representative outfield when you are resting a guy. Since in baseball it seems like it's a big deal. I think that might be enough. I mean, I kind of like the Giants pitching if they get Cobb and Robbie Ray middle of the year, put Wynn and Hicks in the bullpen. Now you got a deep pen, you got a deep rotation.
Yeah.
The defense is kind of what it is, but to me, if you get a couple of real bats and get them rolling, Giants easily could be that third wild card.
I'm with you. I mean, my concern would be that Luis Robert is going to cost a haul because he has several years of team control left. And so this is going to have to be.
I think it's 2, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's more than, that's not a rental. That's
right.
something.
No, you're going to have to pay. I mean, you're going to have to pay for Luis Robert is the top outfielder available in the trade market. And if you look at the baseball trade landscape, the reality is last year you had a 5 seed and a 6 seed play in the World Series. The Rangers won it all. Because of that, everybody's going to play that game of let's just try to get in and anything can happen.
That's right.
Then you also have a situation where because of the extra wild card, there's really only right now about 5 or 6 sellers. Right. Colorado and Miami in the National League, White Sox, A's, a couple teams in the American League besides them, Angels.
Yeah.
There aren't that many sellers out there. No. So it's going to be a seller's market. There's going to be more buyers than there are sellers.
Right.
But that's why I think if I'm the Giants, I go to the White Sox offering a bevy of prospects. And then the other thing that's going to be interesting is that in that San Diego, Minnesota, or in that San Diego Marlins trade for Luis Arias, Arias, the Padres gave premier prospects so that the Marlins would pay the contract.
That's right.
Because that's how poor San Diego is. The Giants are literally the opposite. The Giants should want to retain as many of their prospects as possible, and the Giants have money to burn.
Yeah.
So to me, it seems like if I'm the Giants, I would go to the White Sox and say, I'll pay all the freight on anybody's contract remaining so I can not trade Bryce Eldridge or not trade Carson Wisenhunt or trade less in a prospect deal.
But they're going to have to give those guys up anyway because the White Sox are going to be able to go to 20 other teams and say, hey, you want this Luis Robert guy who, when he's on, is an MVP caliber player. Kicker is he's never really on because
he's been hurt a lot.
I mean, he's literally every at bat could be his last. It's just the way.
But he's also a great athlete. He looks a lot like Jorge Soler. He's just a gigantic right-handed thumper.
He's magnificent. You just don't get to see it all that often. I mean, it's it's a legitimately big risk because you're having to give what I would imagine to be a Juan Soto level offer. I mean, the Yankees gave up a ton for Soto. Now, the Yankees had prospects to burn. The Padres have prospects to burn. The Dodgers have prospects to burn. There's a lot of teams that could use a Luis Robert who could take the freight with the prospects, and maybe they have to toss in another guy or two to save some money.
But if you're Farhan and you don't make that move, odds are by the time you get to the playoffs, you're going to be fired.
But the flip side that he has to consider is I'm trading the future, what I believe is a very strong future, and we can agree or disagree. It doesn't really matter. We'll find out in the wash.
Yeah.
I can acquire this guy, and a week later, he's out for the season because that's his track record.
Yeah.
You can't trust him in the same way that you go, I don't know about trading for Mike Trout, who I'm not even sure if the Angels want to move him because the Angels still do have some financial considerations of
$35 million a year.
Yeah. I mean, who the hell's going to want to go to an Angels game if Mike Trout's not there? And they got to, at some point pay the bills. But regardless, if Mike Trout were to hit the market, you'd have to wonder to yourself at this point, is he worth the haul that it would take to get him? Because as you noted, it's a seller's market. So whatever you think you can get him for, add a 20% surcharge in terms of prospect value. Because that's what
I think the Giants can't do. They can't. Like I read an article the other day, the Giants and one other team are the front runners for Juan Soto. And I just wanted to pull my hair out when I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
That's funny.
No more. Stop it, please. No more teasing the fan base with these phantom free agent pursuits that you're never going to win. You never win these battles.
Yeah.
To me, the Giants have a major PR problem even discussing trades or discussing free agents. I think they're better.
I don't think the fan base buys into it anymore. I
no,
think
not at all. But that's why I think if the Giants are really going to excite their fan base, it can't be 2 months from now, we're going to sign this guy. A month from now, we're going to sign this guy. We just offered him X and he's, we just signed him. No, that's not going to work. What's going to work better is if you trade prospects in July and all of a sudden, July 28th, he's not there. And July 29th, there's Luis Robert and Andrew Vaughn. And now you've won 7 in a row and you're rolling. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Dan Coach Emilio, our good friend, says Matos or Luciano would have to be in the deal for Luis Robert plus a couple of others. Well, I'm willing to move Luciano for sure based on what I've seen. Mark Graves says get the Petaluma kid Spencer Torkelson. He just got sent out by
there's no reason for Detroit to move him. There's no reason for them to think, hey, I mean, he's got like a year of service time under his belt. So I just don't know why they would give up on him. They got to send him to Toledo to get his shit right. But I'm not sure why they would just jettison him. I mean, if you want to give up a better prospect than him, sure. Yeah. I'm sure they've soured on him enough, but now you're buying what is, let's be real, damaged goods. I mean, he got sent down for a reason. He sucked.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question. MF says, Larry, what about Trout? Once again, Kawakami's got a great article up about all the different reasons the Giants should go after Trout. But, he's hurt a ton and he's been hurt a ton and he's cost a lot. And, I think the Giants could probably do better than that. I'd rather see him go for Vladdy Jr. or, as I said, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, Pete Alonso. I'd rather see him go in a different direction.